This is it. We're doing it. We're finally doing it.
We're here. Yeah, this is pretty exciting. I think we're going to have a lot of good themes on here, but the biggest theme is winning and how you can stay winning. And we don't want to always just focus on strongman, but we want to show how people have been successful in other facets of our life, kind of talk a little bit more in depth, but really just kind of talk about like what it takes to win.
What it takes to win. We're going to have people on here. We're going to talk about winning. We're going to talk about some fun stuff. We're going to talk about some, just all types of stuff. But I mean, the main thing that we want to talk about is positive. It's positive. We do want to be positive. There's so much negativity right now that it's important to be positive and share our experiences, because we both won in several aspects of life, not only just competitions, not only just work, not only personal life, but we've been able to be winners. And so we want to build up more winning in the community.
Absolutely. And again, we want our audience to take away a few things that they can apply to their own lives and of course improve day by day. But speaking of, I don't want to get, I know there's no negativity, but do you like my background picture, Mr. Anthony Furman?
I do love it. So that is from Official Strongman Games 2017, where I had a nice lead going into the last day on you, and then they had a truck pull.
And of course they had some stones, but you know what? It's not over until the fat lady sings.
And the fat lady sang as soon as that truck got attached to me, apparently.
But just, of course, a lesson for you young folks. So Anthony made this picture for me in 2018. And then I went into 2018 Official Strongman Games, and I really shit the bed. It was actually my worst competition ever. And Anthony had to talk me off a ledge. So moral of the story, don't brag or boast before you have it all figured out.
And don't worry if you lose, because you have to lose to win.
Ooh, exactly. I want to, of course, talk about that further, but throughout the show, we want to, of course, talk about a lot of different themes that are going on in the strongman world, but we also want to have pretty interesting guests. So we're going to be inviting a lot of people out of the international scene. But today is just me and you.
Just me and Nicholas Campy. We used to call ourselves the Twin Towers.
Yes, we did. And we're still the Twin Towers.
And we're staying strong.
We're never going to fall.
We're never going to fall. We can joke about it. It's been 20 years.
Yeah, it has been. I was like checking the date. I'm like,
yeah, that's the cutoff. That's the cutoff.
20 years. All right, but of course, Anthony, you almost touched on it a little bit. I was kind of surprised, but in terms of my first question, I'm going to have you fill in the blank. Anthony, fill in the blank. Winners are blank.
Winners are losers.
Ooh, all right. Elaborate.
Nobody comes out of the womb winning. It doesn't work like that. Nobody starts an endeavor with a win. That's not how it works. You have to lose. You have to have setbacks in order to win. And so you're not going to find anybody out there that is at the top of their game, the best, that hasn't been the worst or lost, flat out. And people, they associate losing with failure. They associate losing with lesser than, but that's not the case. If you find me a man that's never lost, I'll show you a fucking liar.
That's a good one. You know what? It's funny. Of course, I wrote down my own answer for this, and mine was winners are not afraid to lose. So very, very, very similar. So pretty much going out there is not doing a contest or not taking on a challenge because they're afraid of failure. Because I think that's the biggest thing, is taking risk. And for most people in most situations, and even in strongman, you're probably going to fail more than you succeed. Anthony has, most people are in that setting. So don't be afraid to fail, and don't be afraid to lose.
Well, I mean, you said fear of losing, and I find that interesting because across the spectrum of the world, a lot of the negative stuff, the bad stuff that happens, is born out of fear. Fear drives a lot of shit. Fear, I mean, you can go back as far back as World War II. The Nazis took over because there was fear in that country because they had inflation. So people were afraid. So, fear drives people to do less than stellar things, be less than they could be. And so, really it is about eliminating fear, or at least managing your fear, because we're all afraid. There's a fear. Even when you're on a winning streak, you have a fear of failure, and that's okay. But you have to be able to manage that fear and harness that and use that to accelerate your own winning.
Anthony, what have you done to overcome your fear of things?
I mean, the biggest thing for me, when I'm afraid, that's a tough one actually, because I do feel like I'm fairly unique in that I never really gave a shit if I lost or anything like that. It part of it is I kind of block it out. I focus so much on what I feel and what I see. Even when I created Strength Lead, um, it's a pretty big fear. I mean, it could have failed off the bat. It could have failed very easily, but I didn't even consider it. I knew what I saw and what I felt and what I had, and I was like, this is going to be it. This is going to change things. This is what is needed. And I kind of focus on that. So I almost want to say like focusing on the mission at hand kind of is how I negate my fear.
All right, I got a question. So you've jumped out of planes and helicopters before, right?
Never jumped out of a plane because I'm
All right.
afraid, but helicopter, yes.
Helicopter. Were you afraid the first time?
Hell yeah.
Were you afraid after the fifth and sixth time?
Hell yeah.
You're always but well, my point is sometimes, and I'm of course gonna bring this back into kind of strongman, is that sometimes like repetition and experience gets rid of that fear, right? The more times you do something, the more times you're more comfortable with it.
I mean, I will say that as I did it, when I repelled more and more and all that stuff, I did develop a comfort level. I was still afraid, but it wasn't like the first time where I almost fell out of the goddamn helicopter because I couldn't hold my hand. I was shaking so bad.
But I of course I want to go over kind of one of my themes. It's something I've preached on either other podcasts, other discussions with people, is that and especially a strongman, if you're afraid to lose in strongman competition, that of course you think about getting into, then that means that you just haven't competed enough. You haven't put yourself out there enough, because generally in any contest that even recently that I've won, or even the records that I've broken, I wasn't afraid that I wasn't going to break it. I was super confident I was excited to do it. So I think, again, to the point where I wanted to get to is that, winners are not afraid to lose. And the best way to get over that is repetition and in terms of strongman experience. And also I wanted to get to kind of one kind of like similar example. And people, I'm not sure if you ever kind of watched some like the Ronnie Coleman documentary. But Ronnie, before he won 8 Mr. Olympias, went 8. He used to.
Or was it 7? It's one of the two.
It's up there. But he used to just compete as much as he could all over the world. And even more. And I think in that documentary, there was one individual that kept asking him why he asked him competing, but because he said like, I need to get better. I need to get better.
That's a terrible Ronnie Coleman voice.
I did my best. You try it.
He has like a list. So I said lightweight, baby, lightweight. He's got like a soft voice.
But the thing was, it's just back to like competing off, and he competed as much, and he got like a lot of 4th and 5th and 6th before he became that first. So we going back to, again, don't be afraid to compete. But and then also my other answer to that, winners are in the question and I fill the blank with adaptable, being able to kind of change on the spot and be able to understand the different circumstances or problem that you have at hand and be able to adapt to the situation.
If you are adaptable, whether it be sport, life, business, personal life, you are going to win, because you can't win without adapting. That's how it is. Think about if IBM, is that around still?
Yes.
If they never adapted when laptops came out, and like, no, we're going to keep these big giant wall computers, where they would have went out of business real fast. So I know it's kind of a ridiculous thing, but it really is true. They adapt. It's small things. If you don't adapt, you die. You're doomed to become extinct.
Well, let's just say like a strongman example, like weights get heavier every year. If you came out in 2010 and started competing and you just get used to the 2010 weights and standards and like what the top people are doing, and then you stop competing and jump into 2020, you're going to have to adapt to the new weights and standards. And
it's as simple as, guys, let's say you don't get a warm up you thought you were going to get. No matter if it's right or wrong or whatever, if it doesn't happen, it's not going to happen, right? So you have to be able to adapt to that. You can't fall apart over it, because that's how you lose.
I had when I was 22 working in my first job. So I was working at the Boston sports clubs as a trainer.
You didn't get a job till you're 22?
Well, it was my first job out of college. Sorry, first job out of
Uh,
college. So like right out of college, I joined.
I was gonna say, what a nice life.
I was doing sales, and one of the members when on my last day, I was moving on to do like outside sales for auto parts company, and he said, of course, work your butt off, but always be adaptable and be able to change in certain situation. And
Yep.
he was a well-known doctor, but pretty much that really kind of resonated with me. I kind of had to really think of like what adapting was until I saw different situations. And sometimes adapting is kind of like rising to the occasion or something that you're uncomfortable with, but preparing and working hard in order to kind of achieve that goal. So the
Yeah,
goal,
adapting is it's not one specific thing. That's the beauty of it. There's so many ways you can adapt. So many ways. Whether it's you get the experience. Oh, these knee sleeves didn't work for me. This food I ate didn't work for me. This IV, there's just so many things you can adapt and refine and continue adapting to fit you performing your best. And if we're talking about sport, right?
Mhm.
So
now, is there anything else you want to fill in the blank that winners are blank?
let's see. Okay, winners are not victims.
Ooh, excellent.
I said it.
Well, I mean, if you're competing in terms of like victim mentality, and you're the biggest victim, are you technically the? I'm just kidding, but
No, it's when I tell people I fell prey to this a little bit earlier on in my 105 career. I was like, hey, what about us? Hey, we need better. Hey, give us more. I played the victim. And then I was like, fuck this. We're just gonna do it. And then we did it. People that sit there and say, hey, give me hey, you ain't a winner.
It's true, and of course, complain. I think sometimes complaining to really more times than enough goes on deaf ears, right? So
Nobody likes to listen to like I look at the old school, like the man and the wife. You nag me. I ain't gonna fucking listen to you. I'm just gonna keep drinking my beer and sitting in my chair.
But the strongman examples. Have you ever heard Alexei Novikov complain online?
No, I mean I've seen him in a contest. I wouldn't say complain. I would say try to sneak some stuff in. I would say, but no, he doesn't get on there and complain. Who doesn't, because he wins, so he doesn't complain. You know who complains?
Who complains?
Big, tall men who don't win.
Big, tall, with giant beards and eat spicy noodles.
Well, okay. And bull testicles. Wow, 9,000 calories in one meal. Watch me not eat it all. Anyways.
Anyway, but that's of course that's our little winning rant of the day. But again, is this what we want to get back to? Just don't be afraid to go after what you truly want in life.
Don't be afraid. Don't fucking whine.
Yes, absolutely.
That's the 2 points from our opening. Don't be afraid and don't fucking whine.
Yeah, let's do it. So of course, moving on in terms of a little discussion in terms of kind of our strongman world. So speaking of winners, Dan Hughes winning, of course, Strongman Corporate Nationals 2021 among 62 competitors in the middleweight.
There was a lot. There's 60, I think. Yeah.
I would say, yes, I would say in other years I've seen 70, but like 62 is still a very kind of high number. And of course, being a training partner of Dan, I thought he was kind of the favorite. I think he was pretty level, great mover. He's a great deadlifter, and that having the side handles, I think was a big piece for him too.
Yeah, I knew he was going to win. I honestly, I had no doubt in my mind that he was going to win. Just, having worked with him now for 2 years and training with him and just knowing how he is as a competitor, he's grown so much, and he's very much learned because he's competed in bigger shows than this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I don't want to say it, but I want to say it. I'm sorry. He's been on a bigger stage than this already, and he was ready. And nobody could hold a candle to him, and I knew it.
Now, Dan's Dan's done. Is this his third competition this year? And he's gonna do OSG, so he's gonna do 4 total, right?
Yes.
All right, so it's a pretty good, pretty good competition year.
Yep.
And again, just getting the experience prior, I think, kind of really helped. You know what? It was interesting. So Tyler coming in second. I'm very proud of Tyler. Very exciting.
He's had a good year and a half. He's really improved a lot in the past 18 months.
So what Tyler wrote, he actually made a post about this, and I thought it was I thought it was great. So Tyler posted something that he's competed in 35 contests before winning his pro card. So he competed. So also there's some powerlifting and some other kind of grip stuff in there too. But he's competed 35 times, and to give you some sense, he's actually competed more in a shorter time frame than I have personally. So
he's competed more than I have.
Yeah. So I've done 37 contests. I had to count it.
Am I the only one that doesn't know how many times I've competed? I have no clue.
You might have to go back and write it down. So I'm at 37. I started in 2012. I think he was a little less. I think some of my competitions, I think, and I don't want to, this is not a podcast about myself, but
now it is.
But now it is. But like, for instance, going into some of these contests more recently, I've had some of the most top level contest experience compared to my competitors, and just showing up to those competitions is half the battle. So like, for instance, again, Tyler, 35 contests. He's had 35 times where he's had to drive somewhere, go max effort in a different area, and really.
And you learn every time, and it's shown, and the hard work has paid off for Tyler. It's fantastic. I'm very happy.
And he really shrugged off some of the kind of recent performances too. Like the Waco didn't quite go the way he wanted. He wanted that log pretty bad.
Yeah.
He wanted at least that 400-pound log, and of course he missed in kind of both attempts. And of course and if anybody joked more, the person who made the most jokes about it was Tyler. So I think he didn't let that kind of ruin his fall. He just kept moving forward. He had I thought ASM wasn't, of course, he didn't place as high as he hoped, but I thought he had a great showing for what he's done in the past. Again,
I think he had a bad ASM. I think.
Well, I thought log he was great. I think deadlift. I think he could maybe popped out maybe 745.
Compared to what he's capable of, he had a bad ASM. I'll put it that way.
Think so? All right.
It was still good against the field that was there. Pretty good.
It's not easy to hop in with the pros, and just like, again, you're up against, again, the best that America has to offer, and of course in a new setting. But of course I give Tyler all the props, but just be able to, and then what was the time difference between, I think, was it 3 weeks between ASM and nationals? So he literally
see the chalk. Sorry.
Yeah, it's all right. But it was 3 weeks between ASM and nationals.
Yeah. So he again, he failed twice before he won. Because he got his pro card, so that's a win. He didn't win overall, but he got a pro card, and that is a win. Yeah. Another thing about winning may not mean what you think it means, but we'll touch on that in a different episode.
All right. Absolutely. And then of course we have Mark Jones. I think he was the biggest surprise of the
Mark
weekend.
Jones, the guy that just didn't show up to Clash, but that's okay. I've talked to him because he's a great athlete. He showed up and he laid down, and he's very strong, very capable. So I'm excited to see him qualify for Clash this year, because I think he can make some noise at the big show.
Absolutely. I've personally never met Mark. First time I heard of him was in OSG when he took second in the 90 kilos. But I really hope that this pro card gives him the fire to compete more often, because I think, again, he seems like a talent, and we want to see talent.
Well, I know with Mark, as is the case, a lot of guys, there's a lot of times these guys work full time, and they have jobs where they can't get a lot of time off. So there's a lot of things that go into it. It's not just they don't want to compete, but again, we'll touch on that in a different episode when I'm feeling a little more drunk.
Okay. All right. Absolutely. Yeah. It's only 5 p.m. almost 5:30 Eastern. So it's not, we got to do a 10 p.m. episode. Then we'll have some real fun. All right. That's awesome. But any other kind of comments on nationals, or any kind of stellar performances that you liked? Saxon coming in fourth. It was fun. It's fun. I'm biased, but I had a blast watching the 105s and even the under 200s, because a lot of them under 200 guys were keeping up. Like I give my guy Dan Zimmer a shout out. He competes under 200. And he came in 16th overall in the middleweights. Oh wow.
So I mean, that's pretty good when you're competing against guys that had cut down to 231.
So Dan, what he placed in the
Second,
200s.
he placed second. He got a silver medal. Great job. I'm very proud of him. He's, I know he doesn't like talking about, but this guy, he's a cancer survivor. He beat cancer.
Wow.
And he's used strength, to get his life back. He's a fucking winner. That's what he is.
That's awesome. Well, Dan, congratulations on your second place. But what's also kind of important. So he also earned his Arnold invite by taking second.
Yeah, he's not going. He doesn't want to go.
He doesn't want to go. But I think sometimes
it's a win.
Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes if you don't win, if you get the opportunity to keep competing, or you get more doors open for you because you did well enough at a competition,
is a win.
That's a win. Yep. The fact that you give yourself the reason to compete in the sport and keep going is super important. And then, of course, what's interesting? I was looking. There's 82 heavies this year, and I didn't recognize many of the names.
Bro, when I was at nationals, I had never. I don't want to say out of place, but it was different than the previous years. I just didn't know as many people as I normally did. Normally, I guess it's because I don't compete anymore, so I'm not. Or whatever the reason is, I felt like there's a lot of people I didn't know, and I was like, oh, it's crazy.
They know you. But it was interesting. So it's great that it's like a whole new crop of guys coming out. And there's one guy that I think he took like fifth in the 300s. His name is like Tom Sorka, and I've seen him like Cal Strength weightlifting. I don't know if you're familiar with like Wes Kitts.
I know. Actually, I think I know the name. Yeah.
So I used to see him there, and then I saw him coming through the strongman scene. So I'm pretty interested in see how he does. I think this is his first nationals. And then if Brian's listened to this, he also goes by Judas Peach on Instagram. He's a local guy that took third at 300s, and he was kind of in and out of strongman, but he's been roaring back. He won his qualifier in the over the top strength strong contest, like Rhode Island Strongest Man SE hosted, and then he's just kind of been riding a wave, and now he got his Arnold invite. So
congrats, Brian. Good job, bud.
Yeah. Any other comments on nationals?
No.
All right.
Besides, there's no fucking booze at the banquet.
Ooh, that's hard. I went to in 2017 and this is Vegas, right? I think she might have had like kind of, you had like an open bar, not open bar, but there was a cash bar.
Cash bar is all I need. I'll spend the cash.
She had a cash bar there. But it was just, the banquets are very kind of tame. Everybody's just sitting at their tables. No one's really conversing. Like generally after competition, of course, especially kind of within your weight class, everybody's kind of very kind of chummy. They're all talking about the competition, talking about the training leading up to it. More people are more open now. The competition is done. So it's not, so sometimes some people are less prone to talk, but a lot of times
the people at the Civic Center, everyone was trying to sneak booze in, and they were like kicking people out for having booze. It was wild. Those people all weekend, the Civic Center employees were Nazis.
That's tough.
Yeah. Stupid Virginia. Screw you, Virginia.
But for the most part, I think it's important for the banquets to be something of more like a social scene.
Sociable, yeah. It's not about.
It's great about the rewards and some of the conversations, but the biggest thing is for people to network, people to find a home and make new friendships and keep investing into the sport that we love.
Yeah, so much. I agree. We'll move on because I'm going to start getting angry.
All right, we don't want. All right, speaking of angry, Anthony, what grinds your gears this week?
Nationals banquet. No. What grinds my gears this week? It's the beginning of the week, so I don't know if much. Oh, how about the Steelers almost let the Seahawks come back and win when they don't even got Russell Wilson. This is bull crap. Ben Roethlisberger needs to learn how to throw a freaking football or get rid of him. I'm so tired of it. We have a great defense. TJ Watt's going to be the MVP this year, and we're going to waste it.
Well, I hope he just gives the ball to Najee Harris, because that's what I hope.
How'd the Patriots do?
The Patriots lost a shot.
Again?
Oh, come on. The Patriots, that was one of the more crazier games I've ever seen. It would just the momentum kept going back and forth.
Mac Jones is going to be good.
Yeah, they're still rebuilding, but that was a little bit kind of a heartbreaking loss. But the Dallas is a good team, but if they want to be where they want to be, they got to win those close games. And there's been 3 close games where they've been on the other side of it. So Mac Jones hasn't had enough NFL experience. Maybe he's still maybe he's still afraid. But you know what? I think the pick six was the only really mistake he made. Besides
Yeah,
that,
no, yeah, he's been playing. Yeah, he's been playing pretty well. So you can't be mad at him. I'll tell you what grinds my gears in the community.
All right. Yes, that's the
I'll
point.
tell you what grinds my gears in the community. Sorry, we went a little off track. Uh, so I will say, how do I say this without getting canceled? The infighting between the women has to stop.
Mm.
That's what's grinding. It's not grinding my gears. I'm not losing sleep, but as a person, a promoter that wants the sport to grow, that wants the women to get opportunities, the fighting and bickering they're doing is hurting their opportunities and hurting how they look to the outside the sport or outside the people that know them, right? Like it's one of those things. And men do it too. So don't come at me with that bullshit. But it's been, it's a hot topic right now for whatever reason. And it's like, I want people to put their egos aside and work together. That's really the only way to accomplish a goal, a common goal. Even though they're bickering, everyone has the same goal. So it's to me, I'm like, listen, why the fuck can't you have the same goal? So why are you fighting about it? You know what I mean? Like, and I know everyone's got their different paths or whatever, but that's what's really kind of grinding my gears is I want to see continued progress. And when it gets stagnant when it stales because of things that I think are silly, it really grinds my gears.
Yeah, I think there has to be a certain level of kind of like working together and everybody kind of be on the same page. And
At a minimum, there needs to be a level of I'm not gonna fucking trash this person.
Well, yeah, you gotta lift like, each other up rather than tear them down, right?
It's crabs in a bucket mentality. I talk about it all the time. Oh, this crab's getting away. I don't think so. You pull them back down into the pile of shit. Yeah. You don't want to be the crabs in a bucket. You don't want that.
Not at all. It kind of goes. My thing is a lot of times it's kind of lack of accountability and never really looking inward, right? People like sometimes don't know why they either, let's just say that they did a bad job at nationals or they didn't get the result they want, or there's a reason why people don't either, like if it's a certain friendship, they don't know why this certain person won't talk to them, right? But they never really look inward in terms of like what they did, and a lot of it's self-reflection. And I think you are, to the day, you are where you are because of the choices you made in life. And I feel like more and more these days, not only in the strongman scene, but even the people I know personally, they just are less accountable for the action. They can't look inward and make that realization that they're holding themselves back from their own goals.
Introspection is a skill many people lack. It goes back again to the victim mentality thing we talked about. The victims, I mean, if you're a victim, it's different than claiming you're a victim. Does that make sense? It's how many times it's like with that meme with the bike where he's riding the bike, sticks a stick in the wheel, falls down and blames other people.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah, you know what I'm talking about? Like,
absolutely.
If you stick a stick in your own fucking spokes, you can't blame someone else for you falling off the bike. And it's like you said, it happens all the time in competitions. It happens all the time. Just people love to look outwards of why they failed. Instead of like, why did I fail? I failed. So let's start there.
Absolutely. It's a lot of people, I think it's the old term. You probably know a little more about French history than I do. But it's like people that want to eat their cake and have it too, right? You can't have it both ways. It's, and I think that I see
that a French. Are you sure the French thing isn't "Let Them Eat Cake" by Marie Antoinette?
Maybe.
If you're watching this, you know if
I think I'm mixing.
I think I'm right. I think he mixed them.
You're absolutely right. So my reference is totally. I don't think it has any French, but going back to
the Queen, Marie Antoinette, let them eat cake when they were starving during the French Revolution. Come on.
Yeah. So even there's some people that there's other people I follow that are very outspoken that want to, of course, host all these opinions online, but they get mad at backlash and they get mad at what comes their way, and or if people unfollow them or people get mad at them. So you know,
I mean, every time you do something, there's a reaction, whether it's positive or negative.
Yeah, but you know, but you gotta. I think I would like people to more own up to it. And again, in that introspection, but lack of accountability. So again, being just looking inward and stop blaming others for your problems.
Yeah.
All right, and then so of course, moving on to my last section, Anthony Furman, can clam chowder be trusted?
So you know how I feel about seafood in general.
Well, just tell me about how you feel. It's like it's seafood.
Seafood is disgusting. I hate it. I hate the ocean. I hate things that are in the ocean. I don't trust any of them, let alone to be in my belly. So no, you can't trust it.
You can't trust clam chowder. So
if it's diarrhea with clams in it, I don't think so.
Ooh. I do actually, being from Boston, I do love clam chowder, but I've been seeing a lack of clam and too much potato. So that.
Oh yeah, get that clam chowder.
So that's what really
go Sox.
Gears.
You want to go watch the Bruins game?
They won last night. They're 1-1 with the Tampa Bay, I believe. So watch out for the Boston Red Sox and more of the Boston sports. You know, it's
Larry Bird is the greatest basketball player of all time. Get that garbage out of here.
Great. But I think that's all that's what I had covered for, of course, our first intro episode. My goal is to do this every 2 or 3 weeks. I think next week we want to line up of course, a guest, or again, I have an international member in mind. So I'm going to reach out to them and see if we can kind of line up. But is there anything you want to end with, or?
No, just, hey, if you guys have topics you want us to cover, just drop them in the comments or message us, however it is. Let us know. Cause I mean, we want to teach you how to win in all facets. I mean, if you want to learn how to win on an event, if you want to learn how to win in thumb wrestling, if you want to learn how to win with The Rock,
doing golden ticket. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. I just got that framed. I found it. I thought I lost it.
That's pretty egotistical. Like, you're going to be my show. Here's a golden ticket.
If you want to learn how to win the Titan games, don't come to me though.
Don't come to him. What was your buddy's name from Florida?
Who? James.
James. Yeah. You know, that was a tough thing. They should have known that, like, you can't put the 1 and 2 seed together in the first round. You can't do that.
We could have had so much more drama if they would have separated us.
Exactly. And who doesn't love more drama than Anthony Furman?
I don't want the drama.
No,
I love the drama.
But we all like good drama.
We all do.